Okay. I'm going to make fudge, as I told you, and I'm just going to do one recipe, one kind, because it all has the same basic recipe to make fudge. I make 3 different kinds, and that's all I fool with usually. And I make chocolate. I make, well, 4 really. I make chocolate plain, just plain chocolate. Sometimes chocolate with peanut butter in it. Then I make peanut butter fudge, and I make maple nut. And that's about all the kinds we eat. And I make it all with the same base recipe. So I'm going to do one with you today, and from that you will be able to do all 3 of them. Now, what I wrote down there, what I give you on the recipe card, is the base recipe, which is, I don't like mine very thick, so I used a cookie sheet like this. This is just a big cookie sheet I've had for years and years. And I like it about that thickness. So one recipe covers this cookie sheet, and it's about, I don't know, 15, 16 inches long and 12, 14 inches wide. And I will put some butter. I will butter that cookie sheet. So I'm just going to take my stick of butter, and I'm going to butter the pan. Okay? Just about missed us. You didn't miss anything. You can always watch a replay. What I'm going to do is just take my stick of butter, and I'm going to go all over that pan and butter my pan good. Don't forget to do this. Don't forget to butter your pan, because your candy won't come out of there if you don't. And then the recipe for this is really a double recipe, and since that's the way I make it, I just wrote it down that way. So you can split it in half if you want to make a smaller pan, some people make it in those throwaway pans. If you want to do that or make it in a smaller pan, just cut the recipe in half. I use 6 cups of sugar. My throat's a little scratchy today, and Maddie's still sick. We've still got sick around here. It's awful. She had to go back to the doctor yesterday and get medicine for ear infection. I've got 6 cups of granulated sugar, just white sugar in here. And I'm going to put a stick and a half of butter. You can use butter or margarine, doesn't matter. I happen to have margarine here because I bought it for the peanut butter balls, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it. I'm using a stick and a half of butter. Cut this one off, gives you 4 tablespoons. So you've got a stick and a half of butter, and then I'm going to use 2 cups of evaporated milk. You can use any brand. This just happens to be Carnation. You can use any brand you got, but I'm going to put 2 cups in here. Now these kind of recipes, this one you have to use the recipe. You've got to have your measurements right. Okay. So I've got 1 there, and I'm going to put 1 more. That gives me a cup and a half, so I've got to open another can here. I brought a bushel of apples back from West Virginia this weekend, so this morning I've been peeling apples all morning, putting them in the freezer. Okay, I've got 2 cups of cream in there. Evaporated milk, which I call cream, okay? Now, when I make the fudge, I hope I don't lose my voice. How much is a stick and a half? Okay, that is, okay, what did I do with the, okay, a stick of butter is 8 tablespoons. 8 tablespoons of butter is a stick. So a stick and a half is a full one, and then 4 tablespoons, that's 12 tablespoons of butter. And I just cut it from we get it in these, Catherine, we get it in the rolls like this. So you got 12 tablespoons. 8 and 4 gives you 12. And the cups is 2 cups, is 8 ounces. 2 times 8 ounces, or 8 ounces of evaporated milk. And I've got 6 cups of sugar. Let me see here. Let me get a cough drop over here, girls. throat's kind of scratchy, this cough drop hopefully will help me. Okay, I've got one large jar of marshmallow cream. Doesn't matter what brand it is. This one happens to be Jet Puff, but I've used every brand there is, so it doesn't matter what brand it is. And then I think we will make the chocolate, so I've got chocolate chips. I only need marshmallow cream and chocolate chips, and I buy the chocolate chips in the big container at Sam's, so I put them in one of these plastic containers, and I don't measure them. As we go along, I'll show you how to do it. Then I've got peanut butter here. If I want to put some peanut butter in with the chocolate, I've got some peanut butter. So it's just a very simple recipe, and you want to use a wooden spoon when you're working with it, and you want one with a fairly long handle, because when you put this on the stove, you're going to cook it on high and keep it on high, so you're going to need something with your hands up here high. And a lot of times I put a towel over my hand, because you got to stir that the whole time it's cooking. And you want something up high because that stuff is boiling hot. You're going to have it blistering hot. If it hits your hand, it's going to blister you. Okay. Debbie, I do have the big house about done. Yeah, we just got to do one repair in the bedroom where we took some sealing out with a water leak, and we're waiting on the carpenter to come do that. Misty, how much milk? It takes 2 cups of evaporated milk. That's on the recipe there. So you got 6 cups of sugar, 2 cups of evaporated milk, and 1 stick and 1/2, 1.5 sticks of butter. And you butter your sheet that you're going to do it with. When you're making fudge, get all your stuff out. Have it all sitting around you, because once you cook it, you got to stay with it. You can't make fudge and walk off and leave it. And a lot of people do it with a thermometer. I don't do that. And because of that, like I said, you can't make it. You can't start making it and then walk off and leave it to cook. You're going to stay with it. Let me set this up here so I can see. You're going to stay with it from start to finish, from start till you get done. It's posted, recipes posted on the page. Now the only difference, if you want to write this down or watch the video again, the only difference in making this just peanut butter fudge is leaving the chocolate chips out. So you would have the same recipe with the marshmallow cream and just peanut butter. Then when you make it with maple nut, you will have the same recipe cooked the same way, but you're going to use white chips, white chocolate chips. And takes a couple of bags of white chocolate chips, your marshmallow cream, your walnuts. I've got walnuts sitting here, and maple flavoring. And you can use the regular maple flavoring, or you can use the maple oil flavoring. So you'll see as we do this one, and then you'll see the difference in just switching from one to the other. And if I'm going to make candy, if I spend a day making candy, I can make my peanut butter fudge first and then use the same kettle without washing it. I can use the same kettle and put regular fudge back in that same kettle and start again and make both of those fudges out of the same, one after the other. Now you don't want to do the maple nut because it's a different flavor. So you want a clean pan when you start doing your maple nut. You want a pan that's heavy. Don't get a thin. You want a good heavy pan. This is stainless or whatever you call it, and it's a good heavy pan that's thick so that can cook in there. And I'm going to stir this sugar. I'm going to put it on the stove, and I'm going to stir it on high, put it on high. And when it starts to bubble, when it comes to a bubble, which is just a boil, I'm going to hit my timer for 5 minutes. And I'm going to cook it hard, stay with it, and stir it continuously and cook it for 5 minutes. Then I'm going to bring it right back over to my counter over here and finish it. So for now, I'm going to switch it over to my stove, and I'm going to have to move my camera over to the stove too. So just bear with me a few minutes. You get to see my whole kitchen probably by the time I turn you around here. I have to move my camera. have it on a tripod. Let's see if I got it in the right place now. Okay, I do. Now I've turned my burner on. Got my burner on high there. I'm going to put this right over on my burner. I'm going to start stirring it. As it melts down, you know, as your butter melts down, and when it starts to bubble, just starts to bubble a boil, to start to boil, I'm going to turn it down. Now you want that kettle deep. You want your kettle deep enough to when that rises, when it raises up in there, you don't want it to boil out of your pan. So you want to keep it down in. See, if you'll see there, I'm way down in that kettle. Most people cook fudge with a thermometer and they put it on and then turn it down, and that's a lot harder to regulate what you're doing. The butter will start to melt, and when it starts to boil, I'll take this dish towel here and cover my hand with that dish towel so I know that I don't have any of that stuff pop on me. If you watch them make fudge in a candy store and they make it in them copper kettles, if you'll notice, they stand there the whole time and stir it all the time it's cooking. Sometimes you have to learn how your stove works. This is a new stove for me. I've had this stove 3 or 4 months, and I don't think I've made fudge on it yet. So I'm hoping that my burner is exactly like my other stove, that you're getting about the same heat. But hopefully I've done it enough to where I can watch it and know when it reaches that, done stage. This is the time part. The rest of it's just real quick and putting it together. But you could make this first batch and turn it into chocolate. Put your chocolate chips in it and your marshmallow cream and make your first batch, and then just scrape it out of the kettle real good, and then put your second batch in there and make peanut butter fudge, because you're using the same recipe. And the only difference in the peanut butter is you're adding peanut butter instead of chocolate. Or you could put part chocolate and part peanut butter. That's most of the time what I like. We use more of the chocolate mixed with peanut butter than we do the just plain chocolate. And the amount of chocolate chips you put in there, you decide that by the color. I don't like it real dark. I like it kind of medium. So I don't use I'll show you when I do. I don't measure the chocolate chips. I just throw them in there by the handful until I reach the color that I like. It's starting to melt down now. I love the maple nut fudge. You could use this same base recipes, and probably there's just not many of the others that I like that well that we eat. But you could make it any flavor you wanted, just with the same basic recipe. And it'll set up within an hour. It's set up and ready to cut, and you don't need to put it in the refrigerator. You just let it set in the pan and cool. Okay. Maple nut's probably your favorite. That's about mine too, Joyce. I like that. It's made with the white chips, marshmallow cream, maple flavoring, and walnuts, in the same basic recipe that I've got on the stove here. I'll put that in the comments. Put the things for the maple nut in there. It's just about to start to boil. Just keep that big spoon, that wooden spoon on the bottom of the pan, and just keep stirring it. Have it all the way into the bottom of your pan. So you're scraping that bottom as you go around. That'll keep it from sticking. Okay, I'm starting to boil now. Okay, I'm going to come over here and hit my timer for 5 minutes. Okay, start. Okay, now it's doing a full boil, and that's when it's going to start to probably pop some, but I'm not going to turn it down. I'm just going to keep stirring it. And it's raising, it's coming up in the kettle a little bit, so that's why you want a good deep kettle when you're making it. You don't want it to pop out or to come up over that pan. After you make it 2 or 3 times, you'll see when you reach the 5-minute mark, you'll see how it changes, how the cooking part changes, and how it looks. And you'll learn to know how that look is of when it's done, you know, when it's cooked enough. Yes, all the basic ingredients are the same. The sugar, the butter, and the evaporated milk is all the same for all 3 of the fudges that I make. See, I'm a minute in now. But this is something, like I said, you want to get your pan buttered. You want to have everything on your table and ready to go when you start making it. You don't want to have to stop and leave your candy to go hunt something that you forgot to put out. Not your peanut butter, not your marshmallow cream, or whatever. Because you're going to work with it quick. See, I just had it pop on my shirt. I should have put an apron on. This is a good heavy spoon, and I just popped on my finger. If it gets too hot for you, just take your towel, put it over your hand like so, and then just continue to stir it with that towel over your hand. That way you won't have that boiling stuff to pop on your hand or your arm. I'm down to the 3. And it's beginning to change. The texture and the color is beginning to change in my pan. Like I said, you'll learn how that change is. And, you know, as you get closer to the 5 minutes, it'll be a total change there. I've got 2 more minutes. If you don't get it cooked long enough, it won't set up. You know, it'll be too soft and not set up. And if you cook it too long, it'll sugar on you. So, okay, I'm going down to my last minute. In about that last 30 seconds or so, I'm going to just go ahead and turn my burner off because it'll still continue to boil. See, it's a whole lot thicker now than it was when I first started. You want to have your wooden block or something to set it on when you move it back over. I'm going to take it off the heat now, and I'm going to take it back over, and I've got a wooden block there. And I'm going to move you real quickly back over here. Okay? Make sure, hopefully I got it in the right place. Okay, now you can see there. Now immediately, I'm going to put that marshmallow cream in there. Take my marshmallow cream, and I'm going to put the whole jar in there. Forgot to turn my timer off. Just clean out that jar as much as you can and put that whole jar of marshmallow cream in there. Okay, now I've got that in there. And I'm going to start with my chocolate chips. Like I said, we don't like it very dark. So I'm just going to use my hand and start putting handfuls of chocolate chips in there. 4, 5. I've put about 6 handfuls in there, and I have no idea how much that is cup-wise. And you're going to stir it. It's going to be hard to stir. I used to make it, and after I'd make 2 or 3, I'd have to have Daryl to come and stir it because it does get hard for you to stir. And you got to keep stirring it and work it, and you're going to stir it just about till the shine leaves. See, it's beginning to change colors. My chocolate chips are in there. It'll start setting up on the edge of the kettle first. As you get it stirred, as you're stirring, you'll see it start to set up on the top of the kettle as you go. Stir it hard and quick till you get all that marshmallow cream and stuff melted down in there. And you use pecans instead of walnuts. Sure you can. You put any kind of nuts you like in it. I had to order more pecans. I bought candy from West Virginia again. I bought 5 more pounds of chocolate. I'm going to put a little more chips in it. I bought 5 more pounds of chocolate. See, I can see it. See how the thickness is getting in it there? It's starting to set up on me. And it's starting to form. See how it's starting to form around the edge of the pan there? The hardness right up in here. That's when it starts to set up on you. Just about got it ready to pour out of the pan. And I'm going to put a little bit of peanut butter in mine. So I'm going to get my peanut butter over here. Open my jar. You get me a spoon. And I'm going to put a couple of spoons of peanut butter in it. We like the peanut butter and chocolate mixed together. Okay, now see, you can see there how it's starting to set up on me. It's getting harder to stir. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes when I make it very much and would do it very much, I'd have to have one of the kids or Daryl to stand here with me and help me pour it out of the pan, because that pan gets heavy. Now see how it looks now? It's starting to set up on that. See how you can see it up on here? And it's starting to set up. It's ready for me to pour out into the buttered pan. Okay. You can see the thickness. Let me see if I can let you see that. See the thickness in there? Okay, now I'm going to move this down here, pull my pan over, and see if I can get it out of that pan. Okay, I'm going to do this way, and I'm just going to pour this up here and dump it out. Okay, I'm going to have to do it a little bit at a time because that gets too heavy for me to hold. And I don't have nobody here to help me hold it. Kids are all gone. Okay. I'm going to have to set it down there and try to get it out of that pan. It's hard to hold that pan. That pan gets heavy and it's hard to hold on to it. Of course, you can always leave some in the kettle to lick a kettle. You take your spatula and get the rest of that out of there. See how it's setting up on my spoon? Perfect batch. Now I'm going to take my spoon and spread it out in there. Okay. And you can just take your pan and see, now my pan's hot. Let me get a towel. You can just bang your pan a few times on the table and it will level out for you. See? See how pretty that is? Beautiful. That one turned out perfect. Now I'm going to spread me a towel over there to set it on because that pan's hot. Okay. Now I'm going to show you here. See, I've got some on the table, and see, you can see it's already set up. See, it's already hardened. I'll put that in my mouth. And you got all of it in the pan here. For somebody to lick the pan. You can add coconut flakes. You can add anything you want to it. But see, I'll show you on the spoon here. See how that's set up? I got a cough drop in my mouth. See how that's already set up on me? That's all you do, girls. Okay? Can I use pecans? It's a little bit intimidating when you make the first one, because people have a tendency to want to turn it down. You know, they want to cook it a little bit and then turn it down. Let me get me something to put that out on. Turn my timer off. This will be the samples. I wish I could give you a sample. Now I could go right back into that kettle again, and because I've just made the chocolate in it, I could go right back in and put all the ingredients back in there again and make it just peanut butter. And when you're doing peanut butter, the only difference you're going to do is not put that chocolate in there. You just put more peanut butter. See, it's going to harden. It's going to harden even if you don't put anything. You could just make it plain vanilla. With the marshmallow cream and the sugar and everything cooking, it's going to harden anyway. So you could make it any flavor you want. But now, don't mix don't make a batch of maple nut and then make another one in the pan, because it'll bleed flavors, and you wouldn't want to do that. Okay? This is a short class today, girls. Oh, let's see here. Excited to make some this afternoon. That's good, Catherine. Show us what you get when you make it. See, I've used a whole jar of marshmallow cream. And then the others. Now, the white chocolate chips, I had a hard time finding. Well, I just put the peanut butter lid on my marshmallow cream and threw it away. I found white chips this weekend at Walmart. That was the first place I'd found them that were decent priced, because other stores, they was $5 and $6 a bag. And like I said, when you're using, you can use your maple. If you've already bought oil flavoring in maple, you can use that. If not, you can just use regular maple flavoring in your flavoring on that. Okay? Now I'm going to show you again what it looks like. See how pretty that is? And it's all set up. It's all done now. It just has to sit there and cool long enough for you to cut it into squares. That's all it has to do now. It's all cooked and ready to go. Okay? I hope it's been a good one, girls. This is a short one today. And I'm going to make a run to Walmart this evening. I'm looking for a stuffy called Bluey. Never turned out because I didn't work